Hey everyone, today I'm going to be looking at the LEGO Death Star Final Duel set. Now, we had one of these sets with even the exact same name just 5 years ago in 2015, but I don't feel like it's too soon for another one of these. That was a special enough set, and ultimately this is a special enough set based on what it represents and what it actually depicts, that I think Star Wars fans deserve another one of these this soon. After all, there are a lot of LEGO fans today who weren't into the hobby 5 years ago and thus weren't able to get the previous version, and now they get to have, frankly, a better version. Now let me give you the lay of the land here. This comes with 5 figures and we'll take a closer look at those. I'm just going to take a few of them out of the frame for now. This has some transformative features like the previous version did, and I think they're designed pretty well. These sides angle out like so. The doors here open and close. We'll look at that more closely. And then when we look at it from the side, you can see that this front door section, the whole area, extends out to give you a catwalk, a walkway up to the main stairs to the actual throne. Around the other side, meanwhile, with this completely open, you get to see the 3 circular viewports. So there's a closer look at Palpatine's chair itself with a couple of consoles on the sides. Of course, this can be turned around, and those consoles are made with stickers. This has a nice surprise around the back in the form of Palpatine's actual lightsaber there with the gold hilt and a standard length red blade. Of course, this can spin a full 360 degrees, and you can potentially put an additional lightsaber back there, or I don't know, whatever you want. You can also use these clips on the sides, which are intended to be mostly decorative, to also attach, for instance, Luke's lightsaber off to the side or something like that. Maybe put the hilt on one side and the blade on the other. There are a couple of nice view screens here, one on either side with a printed console next to it. So these are fairly similar in how they look. They're just showing you the status of different Death Star systems. And then, of course, you get a couple of these memorable round console things, which the more I look at the source material, the more I think that LEGO hasn't really nailed the look of these just yet, but I think they look really cool. Here's the final staircase with poor safety here, no handrails or anything, and also a couple of stairs or a couple of steps that are not attached all that well. There's an action feature built in down here. You can push on that, and then these will become a little bit wobbly. You push a little bit harder, and ultimately they'll just get knocked off to the side. If you do a little bit harder, a little bit more quickly, then they'll completely fall off to the side, and you can have a figure on there who would fall off with them. Get a couple more of those consoles, at least parts of them, down around the base. Focus over there. Still dealing with this. We'll get to the sides in a minute. But crucially, this actually has space underneath the throne to put figures. It's a mostly blank space under there with a just purely studded plate surface and a column visible in the back. But I mean, this is useful. This was an important part of the scene when Luke was hiding and Darth was, coming after him. And then there's this. You can just lift all this up to get your access in there if you just want to cheat. Now, this affords a couple of additional opportunities, because not only is it easier to put figures down there, just to set them up before putting the upper level back on, but there are a couple of clips here that can be used for Palpatine's lightning pieces, so he doesn't need to have those in his hands all the time, and he doesn't need to have them stored any place kind of offset. And then this is a hook for his cloak, so if you want to have his cloak off while he's seated to make it easier to put him in the seat without having any risk of damage to that piece, just hook it right there. It's a little personal wardrobe set for Palpatine. On this right side over here, they have a couple of things for Luke to be involved with. For one, there's a nice action feature that's built into the floor, and it's barely even visible. This is the actuator for it here, but I mean, it just looks like some extra greebling or something on the floor. Like there's nothing saying, hey, this is an action feature here, so I really appreciate that. It works too, because watch. I mean, Luke actually hit the side here. I'm willing to bet, I don't have the patience myself, but I'm willing to bet that someone with enough patience would be able to get a good pose out of the figure, and with enough practice actually get to the point where a figure would be able to land up here. I don't know if you'd get him on his feet or not, but you could get him to land on the upper walkway, which would just be an awesome, kind of trick shot to go for. That is possible with this. It's such a simple thing, but it's really done well this time. And then there is the ability to collapse this walkway up above when things start to get a little bit more heated. It's an interesting design what they've done here with the Technic connectors here. An upside down Baraki eye piece, that red part down there, going into the anti-stud section of a hollow stud that is in turn mounted upside down. So ultimately you just knock this out, just hit it with a lightsaber or whatever you want. Knock it in like that and it falls down. As for the position of this whole thing and accuracy to the movie itself and to the set in Return of the Jedi, the previous version of this set, the previous Death Star Final Duel set, had this on the other side. A lot of fans, complained, saying that it was on the wrong side. So LEGO has now switched sides there, but it actually was more accurate to have it on the other side, because in the movie, this part here, this walkway, is actually coming along the left side as we see it, the left side over here, and then going across above. It's a catwalk above the stairway, and it falls down here. So it's an L shape that comes from here and then goes across, and it's this part that falls down. So technically it made more sense to have it on the other side. LEGO just swapped it. Hopefully people will complain less. It doesn't really matter. The feature is there. Ultimately, this is not the correct layout of the whole place, as we'll get into more and more as I look at more parts of the set. Case in point, this section over here, the left wing of the set. This is where Palpatine gets thrown down to his, well, now we know it was not his death. Boo. Should have been his permanent death. Oh well. Yeah, where that happened, it's not next to his throne in the movie. It's actually like over here that he gets thrown down. So I guess this is technically a little bit closer to the spot, but not that much. So, well, we'll get more into that just a little bit soon. But for a toy set, for a LEGO set, for a practically large vignette, diorama, it's not bad. Like the way that the whole set is designed, it has some balance to it that I really appreciate. And this is plenty effective. I think it works fine. There's plenty of room to dump all kinds of figures down in there. And it actually is hollow. Oh, if I can get it so you can see down to the base, so you can, retrieve figures without having to stick your fingers down in there or use tweezers or anything. This does have some stickers around the outside and some on the inside to give it some extra detail. But technically, the spot where Palpatine gets thrown down is not even inside of this tube. That tube is not, again, in the movie, is not here where Palpatine gets thrown down. It's back here where these doors are. And these doors in the movie are on the other side of the tube and on the other side of yet another walkway. So this is not a proper layout here. But again, I appreciate the attempt at packaging. It's a pretty good one for the size and the number of figures. So here's the walkway, that extends out. And then we're missing a lot of stuff in between here, which I think is fine for this set and for what they're focusing on. I think it's more than fine. And then here's the doorway. So you get a couple of royal guards there. You can put them on either side, but it's a lot easier to put them here. They actually have proper space. The previous version of this had a couple of these golden vases, or I'm not sure exactly what they are. This one instead brings in one of the statues. On one side, I think there are actually multiple statues and then multiple of these. Could have used a little bit more detail there, but I think this is enough. Use a couple of the ice skate pieces here. The doors open. It would be really nice if the doors opened together. There was some sort of mechanism to make that work. But it would have added a bunch more bulk and more pieces to the set, would have made it more expensive. It's not necessary, just something that comes to mind. Like, how could this be better? That's one way that it could be better, slightly. But I mean, this all looks nice and it works pretty well. And what I really appreciate about this set is how it packages up, how it shrinks together. Not only does that extend in and these fold in, but they lock into place. So you see right there, and you see that. There's one of those on either side that locks both sides together and the front. So this is no longer extending in and out. And well, this is not bad, because this actually brings this area closer to where it occurs in the movie, and it also brings the walkway closer to a position where it's crossing over the staircase there. So this is also a semi-compelling view of it, and I could even kind of hybridize that a little bit by pulling the walkway out, leaving just these together. Let me zoom that out for you a little bit so you can see better what I'm talking about, just for the layout of these two. It also makes these round viewports be aligned the way that they should be. I think I can actually bring these in. That might make that a little bit more accurate. It's kind of this cross shape that's real. You know, that's actually in this wing of the entire throne room tower, Palpatine's entire tower at the top of the second Death Star. Palpatine as a Lego figure has gone through a bunch of iterations. Here's the most recent version now with the second generation hood. I'm still torn on that because while it does hang better, and it definitely looks better from the side than the old version, the view from the front just isn't quite there for me. I might just be completely biased in terms of what I expect from a hood from a Lego figure that goes with a Lego figure. So yeah, I can go either way with this. We'll take a look under there as well. The printing on the torso I think is fine. Got a little bit of the metallic clasp up at the top of it. Maybe it could have had a little bit more fine detail. I think he deserves it. You know, some finer lines, some smaller creases. Around the back, he does have the flowing, newer style of cape. No print on the back of the torso whatsoever. Again, I feel like he deserves some, even just a little bit of crease work to be shown on there. And he does have two faces, so that's very important. The level of detail on this face is really good. And there's depth, there's emotion, you know. I feel like that's well done. This one's pretty good too. You know, it's a little bit serious. It's not getting too silly. So yes, I do appreciate that. Vader is an interesting case because with this second generation of helmet that we've had for a while now, it's much more accurate than the original, undeniably. But when viewed from the side, still looks like he's looking up all the time, like his head is back. The printing on the front of this figure is fantastic. Let me see if I can get that to show you a little bit more of the shine. Yeah, a little bit more of it. Just the level of detail there is really nice. And I'm not going to look back at the source material and compare every single dot, every single button, every single light. But in general, they tend to make these better over time. Subtlety in the printing on the legs is nice. The biggest deal here, he has actual arm printing. And that is really a big deal that a lot of collectors, I am sure, are really going to appreciate. So that's definitely nice to see. Also has the soft cloth for the cloak, which works and makes more sense to me. And the print on the back of the torso is really good. Like, that's appropriate. I would want to see that level of detail on the back of Palpatine as well. Underneath there, this is a single-sided face for that head. So he's showing a couple scars around the back. And on the front, just his reveal face is basically what they're going for. I still think that Lego needs to bring back their light gray. That's lighter than regular light gray, but not as white as white. And I think that would be ideal for this guy. Maybe just regular light gray is a little bit too dark for him. But white feels a little bit too bright to me. So I don't know how to fix that. I do feel like white is just a little bit too bright. But the print is good. The face is good. Final version Luke here looks pretty proper. The print for the torso is pretty good. I can't tell if I've got a little bit of a print mess up on the belt buckle there. It looks a little bit smudged to me. Let's see again if I can get a little bit more of a look at that shine of the metallic print there. He's got the single gloved hand. His lightsaber is trans bright green, which is nice and almost day glow in its appearance. And I think that's the best looking blade that they've done for him ever. You know, just it's just proper. Print on the back of the torso, level of detail here is appropriate to the front. You can already see just a hint of a second face being there because they have just a couple of the neck, chin creases that they show. And there is that alternate face not getting too happy. Again, just the faces are just pretty serious. Like it feels like they're leaning a little bit more towards the collector market with these prints in this set. And just a little bit more mature, which kids can still appreciate. So that's all good. And last but not least, there are 2 of this guy. So 2 times this. Royal Guard, same old mold for the headgear piece. Looks good. No print for the head, which is fine. Just black, just shows the little slit coming through. And this one is different, I believe, than any that they've done before because of the cloak especially. I didn't compare the print on the torso. It looks really familiar to me. There might be some tiny insignificant differences, but the cloak is a big deal here. It's actually like a satin finish, which is not absolutely ideal if you ask me. I prefer just more of a velveteen look for that. So this has a little bit of metallic sheen in it, which is, just suboptimal. But what is definitely good here, also the color doesn't match quite as well as I would like to see. It's not bad though, but check this out. The inside is the dark red color and it's flowy. So that's nice. That's nice to see, to get the cloth style. There's just a little bit more of that print on the front of the torso, which is just right. Appropriate. No print on the back. I'm okay with that for a character this anonymous. These are the spare parts, including some of the what I would consider to be more valuable and special pieces, just small ones, of course. And here's the spent sticker sheet, which is pretty substantial for the set. Not a large number of stickers, but a fair number of pretty large stickers that are applied to curved surfaces, so like curved panels inside and out. Requires definitely some patience and care to get those right. With these especially, these were the ones that get applied to the inside of the tube area, so the insides of curved large panels. I recommend that you try to actually pre-roll these, like pre-bend them. You can even do it with the sticker sheet itself before anything is removed. Put this over the edge of something, the edge of a desk or something, and pull it down to start getting it to roll up so that when you pull those stickers off, they're not going to be making contact in places where you don't want. You can line up an edge and then just smooth it all down. The price they're charging for this is $100 US. And frankly, I feel like that is a bit much for the size of the thing. 775 pieces. Okay, the price to part ratio does not look great for this, but I always put my main focus when considering value on just how much stuff is here. So when I bring it closer to myself, just for the sake of scale, you can see this isn't a tremendous set. It's not huge, and this is with it fully folded out and everything. But I just wanted to give you a little bit more context there. So you understand more of how I value Lego sets in general, how my mind works with these things. I personally would like to see this sold for $80, maybe $85. And that's even considering in my mind just the fact that they're going to price Lego Star Wars sets in particular a little bit higher than they would the equivalent amount of stuff in, let's say, the creator theme or city theme, although city tends to get overpriced sometimes itself. Not thinking about the Disney tax and all that madness. Lego can price their sets wherever they want, however they want. They price them based on how much they think that they can get from customers, what they think is going to work on the market. And that goes across all the themes. Their licensing costs has been shown in the data. Their licensing costs are spread out across the company, across all themes. They can price things wherever they want. I would like to see this sold for $85 tops. I think that if it was $90, I would still be saying it feels a little bit overpriced to me. So $100 definitely feels a bit out of the range to the point where I'm a bit uncomfortable with it, to be honest. But at least the set itself is designed really nicely. There are so many clever things that the designer and or designers for this did to make good use of the space, to be creative with the interpretation of the real set and all the information that's been added to kind of expand on that space, like how it should really be laid out and everything. A lot of elements were captured here appropriately, and yeah, I feel like there's a lot of love for the Star Wars series that was used and utilized in the design of this set. So I appreciate all that. Just wish it was a little bit cheaper. Let me know what you think about that, though. You know, this was not released in a black box, so it's not intended to be specifically just a collector set, but I think it is a fine collector set that would look good on display. Probably a lot of people who want to just put this on a shelf or something will want to just leave off this front wing portion of it. Maybe put that off to the side. It's really easy, fortunately, to just, I think you pull off like one piece and then you can slide the whole thing out. One, maybe two. You slide the whole thing out and then you can display just the inside of the throne room part here, and that works really well. So, yeah, I mean, you just have so many options. And then with the ability to change this too, it's just nice. Good stuff. So let me know what you think about this set. If you have any familiarity with the 2015 version, let me know what you think about this versus that one. Which do you think is better? Did they take any steps backwards with this one here? Like I said, I think that the arrangement of the two sides was better previously, but it doesn't matter that much. And if you haven't seen that old one and you're interested, well, I've got my review of it still up. I will have the build videos for this, real time and speed build, up very soon. If you're watching this video very shortly after it was published, there may be a slight delay. Otherwise, they're probably up already on their respective channels. Those channels are linked in the end screen that should be showing up right now, and also in the video description. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.